The fire and the nobody Eli was just a janitor. He worked at the spaceport on Colony 47, a dusty planet forgotten by most of the galaxy. Every day was the same. Clean the docking bays, sweep the halls, empty the trash. People didn't talk to him much. Some didn't even see him. In the eyes of others, he was a nobody. But Eli never complained. He liked quiet work. He liked being invisible. That night, something strange filled the air. The sky above the colony was red not with sunset, but with fire. A massive explosion shook the ground. People screamed, running from the tall silver tower that belonged to the alien Velari Embassy. Eli was walking home when he heard it. He could have run with the crowd. He could have turned his back and gone to safety like everyone else. But something made him stop. Then he turned around and ran toward the fire. The embassy was burning. Flames shot out of windows, black smoke rising high. Guards shouted. People cried. Still, Eli pushed forward. He wasn't thinking, his feet just moved. Inside the building, the heat was like walking into an oven. Sparks flew, metal twisted, walls cracked. That's when he heard a voice, faint, weak, calling for help. He followed it. He climbed over broken beams and burning furniture. Then he saw her, an alien woman trapped under a fallen light structure. Her skin was golden, but covered in ash. Her hair was long and silver, now tangled and burned. Her breathing was fast. Panicked without thinking, Eli dropped to his knees. He tried lifting the metal, but it was too heavy. He looked around, saw a piece of pipe, and used it for leverage. His arms screamed in pain, but finally the beam moved enough. He reached in and pulled her free. She collapsed against him, coughing. Her eyes looked at him with shock and something else. You don't know what you've done," she whispered. Then she fainted. Eli carried her out of the building just before the second explosion shook the tower. Heat followed them. His clothes were burned at the edges. His arms were raw. But he didn't stop. He kept going until he reached the medics. The crowd stared. Not because a man had survived the fire, but because of who he had saved. They whispered her name. Princess Rila, the only daughter of the High Queen of the Velari Empire. Eli had no idea. To him, she was just a person in danger. A life worth saving. Later, as he sat on a bench outside the hospital, his hands bandaged and his shirt soaked with sweat, 2 guards approached him. They didn't say thank you. They just told him to come with them. He followed, confused. They brought him to a private room where the princess lay in a healing pod. Machines beeped softly. Her eyes opened slowly when she saw him. The guards tried to speak, but she raised a weak hand. "Leave us," she said. Her voice was quiet but firm. When they were alone, she looked at him. "You're the one who pulled me out," Eli nodded. "I didn't know who you were. I just heard you call for help." For a long time, she stared at him. Then she said something that made no sense. "You may have just started a war? Or stopped one," he blinked. "What does that mean?" But she didn't answer. Her eyes closed again, and the machines continued their soft rhythm. Outside the room, the colony was already buzzing. Reporters arrived. Security increased. The Velari military ship hovered over the skies, watching everything. And every screen in the colony played the same headline: "Unknown human saves alien princess from burning embassy." Eli didn't care about the headlines. He didn't care about the cameras. He didn't know anything about politics or empires. All he knew was that he saw someone in danger. And he acted. He didn't feel like a hero. He didn't feel different. But deep in the shadows of the galaxy, enemies were already moving. The princess was never supposed to survive. And now the one who saved her, the human nobody, had become a piece in a much bigger game. A game that would change everything. The secret of the alien woman. The next morning, Eli woke up in a hospital bed. His arms were wrapped in bandages. His chest hurt every time he breathed. But it wasn't the pain that made him sit up, it was the silence. Something felt off. The room was too clean, too empty. And outside the window, he saw armored guards standing still, their weapons in hand. Before he could stand, the door opened. 2 tall aliens in black uniforms entered. Their skin shimmered faintly, and their faces looked like carved stone sharp. Proud and serious. "You will come with us," one said. Eli didn't argue. He had no idea what was happening. He only knew it had something to do with the woman he saved. They led him down a long hallway, turning into a private wing that looked nothing like the normal parts of the hospital. The walls were gold and silver, and everything smelled like sweet herbs. At the end of the hall stood 2 more guards, larger than the last. They nodded and stepped aside as the door slid open. Inside, Princess Rila was sitting up. Her wounds were already healing fast. Alien tech surrounded her, floating lights, glowing water, a protective dome around her bed. But her eyes, her bright violet eyes, were locked on Eli. "You came," she said softly. "I was told to," he replied. She gave a small smile. "You still have no idea who I am, do you?" Eli shrugged. "I know you're important. I saw the news." She leaned forward. "I'm not just important. I am the next ruler of the Velari Empire. My mother is Queen Lorexa. My word can start or stop wars. My breath carries royal blood. And you," she paused, "are now part of that story." Eli looked confused. "Why me? I just pulled you out of a fire." "You didn't run. Everyone else did. My guards left. My advisors fled. But you, a human janitor, ran into the flames. That's not normal courage. That's rare." Eli looked down. "I just did what I thought was right." Her voice grew quiet. "That's what makes it powerful." Suddenly the door burst open. A tall alien with golden armor stormed in. His eyes were cold and full of judgment. "This human must be removed at once. He is not safe. We don't know who he is." "This could all be a trick." Princess Rila raised her hand. "General Orzek, he saved me." "With respect, my lady," Orzek growled, "he could be working with your enemies." Eli stepped back, heart racing. "I didn't do anything wrong." "He stays," Rila said firmly. "I will not repeat myself." The general stared at her, then at Eli. He gave a sharp nod and left Eli's side. "What's going on?" Princess Rila hesitated. Then she said, "The explosion was not an accident. It was an assassination attempt. Someone inside my own court wanted me dead." Eli froze. "I was going to announce something that many leaders didn't want. I was planning to form peace with Earth. I wanted to unite Velari and humans through trade. Maybe even marriage. But before I could speak, the fire came." Eli shook his head. "So I messed up their plan." "You did more than that," she said. "You gave them a new problem. Now the whole galaxy sees a human saving a Velari princess. People are asking questions. You've become important." "I didn't ask for that," Eli said quietly. "I know," she whispered. "But now your life is at risk. You can't go home." Eli felt the weight in his chest. His small room, his job, his quiet life, gone. "Where do I go?" he asked. "With me," Rila said. "You'll be under my protection. You will stay close and no one will harm you." "But why?" he asked. "Why protect someone like me?" She looked at him with a strange softness in her eyes. "Because you did the same for me." In the days that followed, Eli wasn't allowed to leave the royal wing. Guards followed him. Cameras watched him. Reporters begged for interviews, but he refused them all. He didn't want fame. He didn't want attention. But he also didn't want to leave her side. Something about Rila pulled him in. She wasn't just a ruler. She was real, honest, strong, and also lonely. One night, as they sat together in silence, she asked him, "Do you regret it? Running into the fire?" Eli looked at her. Her eyes glowed in the dim light. He thought about the pain, the loss of his old life, and the danger he was now in. Then he said, "No, I'd do it again." She smiled. And for the first time since the fire, she looked at peace. But far away, in the cold halls of the Velari royal court, shadows moved. Whispers filled the air. Plans were being made, because the human wasn't supposed to survive. And now they would do anything to silence him. Enemies awake. Eli woke up to silence. Not the calm kind, but the kind that feels too heavy, like something was wrong. The guards who used to stand outside his guest room were gone. No footsteps. No soft humming of machines. Just silence. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered. He sat up, heart beating fast. Something had changed. He didn't know what, but his instincts screamed, danger. Before he could move, Princess Rila stormed into the room. Her long robe was wrinkled, her face pale. She didn't speak right away. She walked to the wall panel, pressed a glowing symbol, and locked the doors. "They're coming," she whispered. "Who?" Eli asked. She turned to him, her voice low and sharp. "The ones who lit the fire. The ones who want me dead. And now, they want you too." Eli's throat went dry. "Why me?" "Because you ruined everything," she said. "You saved me. You became a symbol of hope. And hope is dangerous to people who want control." Eli took a step back. "I didn't mean to be a symbol. I was just a janitor." She interrupted. "You stopped being that the moment you carried me out of fire in front of half the galaxy." A loud boom shook the walls. The lights went red. "They've breached the outer ring," Rila said quickly. "We don't have much time. Come with me." Guards finally returned, shouting orders. Weapons were drawn. Rila grabbed Eli's hand and pulled him through a back hallway he didn't know existed. "I can't let them take you," she said as they ran. "Why?" he asked. "I'm no one." She looked at him fiercely. "To them, you're everything." They escaped through an emergency pod hidden inside a massive statue. It launched into the dark sky, leaving behind the hospital and the burning royal wing. Eli watched from a window as fire spread again. Just like the night he first found her, they landed on a hidden cruiser above the planet. Soldiers greeted Rila and bowed. One of them looked at Eli but didn't bow. "Is that him?" the soldier asked. "Yes," Rila replied, "and he's under my protection." Eli didn't like the way they looked at him, like he was a problem, not a person. He was given a small room but couldn't sleep. His thoughts raced. Who were these people trying to kill him? Why was he still involved? The next day, Rila brought him to a secure chamber. A giant screen lit up, showing her mother, the Queen of the Velari. Queen Larexa had silver eyes that could freeze blood. She looked at Eli through the screen and said, "So, you are the human who saved my daughter." Eli nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty. I suppose we owe you," she said slowly. "But you have caused problems." "I didn't mean to," Eli replied, nervous. "Intentions don't matter," the Queen said. "The galaxy sees you now." "That cannot be undone." Rila stepped forward. "Mother, he needs protection." The Queen narrowed her eyes. "He needs to disappear." "No," Rila shouted. "He's not a threat. He's the reason I'm alive." "Exactly," the Queen said. "And that has created enemies, powerful ones. I will not risk a war over one human." Eli stood still. So this was it. The Queen would erase him, send him away, end this nightmare. But Rila didn't let that happen. "If you send him away," she said, "you send me with him." The Queen went quiet. Her daughter had never spoken back like that before. After a long pause, she said, "Do as you wish. But don't say I didn't warn you." The call ended. Eli turned to Rilla. "You didn't have to do that." She looked tired but calm. "Yes, I did." Later that night, Eli sat alone in the cruiser's garden. The stars outside looked peaceful, but his mind wasn't. He had no job, no home, and no idea how he ended up running from assassins. He used to be invisible. Now he was hunted. He used to be nobody. Now he was tied to a princess, and the worst part, he was starting to care about her, but somewhere in the darkness of space, ships moved quietly unmarked and silent. Their mission was clear. Find the human. Kill the princess if necessary. Erase the story before it spreads, because in the game of empires, one act of kindness can set fire to everything. A bond they can't explain. Eli was not used to luxury. The ship they escaped on was filled with gold walls, soft lights, and food that floated gently on silver trays. Yet he felt no peace. Every room had hidden eyes. Every corner felt like a trap. He was surrounded by beauty, but all he felt was danger. Rilla, the alien princess he had saved, walked beside him every day. She no longer wore her royal armor. Her injuries had mostly healed. She dressed in soft clothes now, the kind that flowed when she moved, but her eyes stayed sharp. Her voice still held weight. Eli thought she would be angry or distant, but she wasn't. One morning, she met him in the observation chamber. Stars shone like tiny candles outside the massive glass wall. Eli stood quietly, watching them. "I used to hate silence," she said suddenly. "Now it's the only thing that keeps me calm." Eli looked at her. "Why?" "Because silence can't lie," she answered. "People do, even my own counsel." He nodded slowly. "I know a little about people like that." She turned to face him fully. "I doubt that. You seem too kind to be around liars." He shrugged. "I cleaned their mess. That's close enough." Her lips curved in the smallest smile. Then she asked, "Do you want to go back?" He didn't need to ask what she meant. Earth, his old life, his job, his little corner of quiet nothingness. "I don't know," he said. "It doesn't fit anymore." Neither of them spoke for a long time after that. But something had changed. The space between them felt smaller, warmer. That evening, the ship's engines groaned. Alarms buzzed soft but serious. A voice rang through the halls. "Enemy signature. Detected. Prepare for defense." Eli froze. Rilla didn't. She pulled him into a side chamber where soldiers were already arming themselves. "Stay here," she said. "I'll go with the defense team." "No," Eli said firmly. "I'm going with you." She blinked in surprise. "You can't fight." "No," he agreed, "but I'm not hiding again." She looked at him like she was seeing him for the first time. "Fine, stay close." The enemy ship didn't fire missiles. Instead, it released a pod. A small squad of masked attackers boarded the cruiser, cutting through outer doors like knives through paper. Rilla and her guards met them in the main hall. Blasters fired. Sparks flew. Eli grabbed a metal rod and swung at anything that got to. Close, a soldier moved to stab Rilla from behind. Eli saw it just in time. He jumped, shoving her out of the way. The blade sliced across his back. Pain exploded through him. He dropped. Rilla screamed his name. Something in her snapped. She moved like lightning, striking, blocking, crushing. Her guards followed her rage. Minutes later, the attackers were down. Some were dead. Others ran, but Eli wasn't moving. She dropped beside him, hands shaking as she pressed against the wound. "Stay awake," she cried. "You're not allowed to leave me now." His eyes fluttered. He smiled through the pain. "I told you. I'm not hiding again." Then he blacked out. Hours passed. When Eli opened his eyes, he was in the med bay. Machines hummed softly. The pain was still there, but lighter. His vision was blurry. Then he saw her. Rila sat beside his bed, holding a cloth to his forehead. Her other hand gripped his tightly. "You're awake," she whispered. "Barely," he said. She didn't smile. Her voice was full of emotion. "Why did you do that?" "I saw a blade," he murmured. "I moved." "You're not trained." "You could have died." "I still would have done it." She leaned closer. "Why?" He looked at her. "Because you matter to me." For a moment, the mighty princess had no words. Her shoulders shook. Not with anger, but with something softer. Something real. "I didn't expect this," she whispered. "Neither did I," Eli said. She brushed his hair back. "I don't know what this is between us, but it's the only part of this crazy mess that feels true." They stayed like that for a long time, just breathing, just holding on. Far from politics, far from war, far from fire and enemies, for the first time since everything began. They both felt safe, but peace never lasts, and somewhere beyond the stars, the ones who failed were planning again, this time with sharper blades. Because they didn't just want to erase Eli, now they feared him. The truth revealed. Eli sat alone in the garden chamber of the royal cruiser. The plants were strange blue leaves, glowing vines, flowers that hummed softly, but it was the only place that felt a little bit real to him. Days had passed since the attack. His wounds were healing. His body ached, but not as much as his mind. He had started as a nobody. Now, everywhere he walked, soldiers nodded to him. Servants followed him. Screens showed his face next to headlines. The human who defended the princess again. Janitor turned hero. What does Earth have that we don't? He hated it. He didn't feel like a hero. He didn't even feel like himself anymore. Rila entered the chamber quietly. She didn't wear her crown today. No robes, just a simple suit. She looked tired, but calm. "I thought I'd find you here," she said, sitting beside him. Eli looked away. "Why me?" she frowned. "What do you mean? Why did you choose to bring me with you? Protect me? Defy your mother? Why not just leave me behind?" She was silent for a moment. Then she said, "Because I had no one else I could trust." He turned to her slowly. "My own people betrayed me. My own court tried to burn me alive. You, someone with nothing to gain, ran into the fire to pull me out. That means something." "But I didn't do it for power," Eli said. "I didn't do it for your crown." "I know," she replied. "That's why it matters." She stood up and walked to a small control panel hidden in the vines. A glowing screen rose from the ground. "I want to show you something," she said. The screen played a recording secret footage from inside the Velari Royal Hall. Her own council was shown, speaking in hushed tones. "The alliance must not happen. She's young, naive. If Earth joins us, we lose control. Better to remove her quietly. Make it look like a tragedy." Eli's chest tightened. These were her own people, her advisors, plotting her death like it was simple business. They feared peace, Rila said, because peace meant change. And change meant losing power. Eli shook his head. "So the fire, the attack, all of it was to stop you from speaking?" She nodded. "I was going to announce a peace treaty with Earth. Trade, travel, even cross-species families. A full bond between humans and Velari. And now," he asked. "They failed," she said, "but they haven't stopped." Eli leaned forward. "Why show me this now?" "Because you deserve to know what you walked into. And because this isn't just about me anymore. They want to kill you two not because of who you are, but because of what you represent." Eli looked confused. "What do I represent?" She stepped closer. You are proof that humans are not weak. That kindness can be stronger than politics. That one ordinary man can change everything. Eli didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, I never asked for any of this. I know, she said gently. Neither did I. They stood there, two people caught in a storm they never chose, but somehow had to face together. That night Eli couldn't sleep. He walked through the silent halls of the ship, thinking. He passed by warriors who had once laughed at him. Now they nodded in respect. He passed by doors he once feared. Now they opened at his presence, but all he wanted was to go back. To clean floors. To be invisible again. He found Rila on the command deck alone. She was watching the stars. I've made my decision, he said. She turned slowly. And what is it? I'm staying. Her eyes widened. I don't know how to fight wars. I don't know alien politics, but I won't run. I won't hide. If I can help you, even a little, I will. She walked up to him, eyes full of something more than gratitude. You don't have to be a soldier. I'm not, he said. But maybe I can still be strong. She smiled, a real smile. The kind she rarely showed. You already are. In that quiet moment, two things became clear. One, Rilla wasn't just a mission to him anymore. And two, Eli wasn't just a symbol to her. They were something more now. Something neither of them fully understood, but both were willing to. Protect. Outside, the stars kept shining. But in the dark corners of space, the men who failed to burn the princess once prepared to strike again. Next time, they wouldn't just try to kill her. They tried to destroy the one she now cared for most. From nobody to target, Eli never asked to be noticed. But now the entire galaxy knew his name. His face appeared on news screens in alien markets. His voice was discussed in royal meetings across 3 star systems. Some called him a symbol of peace. Others called him a threat to tradition. Some wanted to interview him. Others wanted him dead. He was no longer just the man who saved the princess. He had become the human who might change everything. And that made him target number 1. It started with a message, a simple datapad left on his bed. No sound. No warning. Just glowing red words. You were supposed to die in that fire. Run while you still can. Eli stared at the message for a long time. Then he walked straight to Rila's private chamber. She read it. Her eyes didn't blink. They've started again, she said. I was hoping we had more time. Do you know who it is? Eli asked. She nodded slowly. Not yet, but I know what they want. They want fear. They want silence. Eli didn't speak. His heart was already pounding. Later that night, a ship disguised as a cargo freighter tried to follow them. Its scanners were muted. Its weapons were hot. It was no trade ship. Rila ordered her guards to take it down. But Eli realized something important. They're not just after you anymore, he said. They're coming for me now. She looked at him with quiet sadness. You've become too important. He laughed bitterly. I used to scrub stains. Now assassins chase me through space. Rila stepped closer. You became something they can't control, that scares them. But I didn't choose this, he whispered. No, she said. You earned it. As threats grew, Earth finally got involved. Human diplomats contacted Rila's court. They offered protection for Eli, a safe ship, a quiet place to hide. But Eli shook his head. I'm not leaving. You'd be safer, Rila said. But you wouldn't, he replied. They looked at each other for a long moment, and that's when Rila made her boldest move yet. She called a press conference. The royal cruiser connected to the galaxy's largest communication hub. Billions of eyes watched. Aliens from every corner of the stars tuned in. Rila stood in front of the cameras, wearing her royal armor for the first time since the fire. Her voice was calm but strong. Many of you know. Me as the Velari princess. Some know me as the future queen. Today I want you to know me as something else. She turned and Eli stepped forward. I want you to know the man who saved me. The man who reminded me what bravery means. The one who did not run, even when he had every reason to. He is human, he is kind, and I stand with him. The room went silent. Then she added, and soon? He will stand beside me as my bonded partner. Eli's heart stopped. The reporters gasped. Some cheered. Others shouted in protest, a human. Bonded to a Velari royal? It had never happened, but Rila stood tall. I am not doing this to shock the galaxy. I'm doing this to stop the blood. We cannot speak of unity while we fear love. Between species. We cannot build peace while we treat kindness like rebellion. Eli didn't speak at first, but then he stepped to the microphone. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a leader. I didn't save her because I knew who she was. I saved her because she needed help. I never expected any of this, but I won't walk away from it either. When the broadcast ended, half the galaxy went silent. The other half exploded. Some sent gifts. Some sent threats. Alien houses declared support. Others promised war, but Rila didn't care, and neither did Eli because they were no longer hiding. They were no longer running. They had made a choice and the stars were watching. That night, Rila stood beside Eli, holding his hand on the observation deck. I don't know what happens next, she said. Me neither, he replied, but whatever. It is, she said. We face it together. And far away, in a dark palace on a cold planet, those who had failed once sharpened their knives again. They had tried to burn the princess. That failed. They had tried to kill the human. That failed. Now, they would come with everything they had left, because they were not just fighting love now, they were fighting a bond that the galaxy had never seen, one between a human nobody and a royal alien who refused to bow. Asterisk. The fire that changed everything. The stars were silent, but the galaxy was not. After the announcement of Princess Rila's bond with a human, shock spread like wildfire. Protests erupted on some planets. Support filled the skies of others. Some called it hope. Others called it betrayal. But in the shadows, the enemies hiding behind masks and thrones didn't speak, they acted. They sent warships. They sent assassins. They sent a message, loud and clear, end this bond or we end everything. Rila and Eli were moved to a hidden station near the edge of neutral space. It was cold, quiet, and surrounded by allies they could barely trust. Every meal was tested. Every hallway scanned. Every moment watched. But they stayed strong. Together. One evening, as they walked through the crystal-lit corridors, Eli asked a question he had held back for too long. Do you regret it? She looked at him, surprised. What? This, us, the speech, the fight, all of it. Rila stopped walking. She reached out and touched his hand. Every empire has rules. Every ruler breaks one. You weren't a mistake, Eli. You were my fire. You woke me up. He looked into her eyes and knew she meant it. But before he could answer, alarms blared. Across the station, multiple ships incoming. Heavy weapons detected. Eli and Rila ran to the command center. On the screens, they saw an entire fleet heading toward them, not just from one enemy house, but many, united in fear, united in hate. They were going to erase everything with fire. Eli turned to the captain. What's our defense? The reply came cold. We're outnumbered 20-1. But Rila stepped forward. Then we don't wait. We speak. She ordered a full-frequency broadcast, one last message for the whole galaxy to hear. As the enemy ships approached, her voice filled every screen, every planet, every station. You want to destroy me because I chose peace. You want to silence him because he showed courage. But it's too late. The fire you started has already spread. You cannot kill what we've already become." Then she looked at Eli and nodded. He spoke next. "I was nothing. You saw me as dust, a janitor, a shadow. But I ran into fire to save someone, not knowing who she was. And I'd do it again. Not for power, not for fame, but because helping someone in pain should never be a crime." The message ended. And the enemy ships kept coming. But they weren't alone. Suddenly, hundreds of signals appeared on the edge of the screen support ships, human and alien, arriving one after another. Not armies, not governments, just people. People who believed in them. People who saw what they saw, truth. The enemy paused, their numbers still stronger, but their confidence cracked. Then, one of the enemy captains broke formation and sent a signal. "I will not fire on the girl who fought for unity." Then another, and another. Half the fleet fell back. The others attacked. A brutal battle began in the stars above. Rila fought like a queen. Eli stood at her side, directing wounded civilians to safety, helping even strangers. He wasn't a soldier, but he was brave. A missile locked on their tower. They didn't run. They stood together. Just before impact, a support ship from Earth took the hit. The smoke cleared. The tower still stood. And the war was over. Later, as the fires died and the dead were counted, Rila and Eli stood hand in hand. They had survived. More than that, they had changed the galaxy. The old systems were cracking. The old rules were questioned. Across the stars, beings of every race now whispered the same thing. If a nobody human and a royal alien can stand together, maybe we all can. On the 1-year anniversary of the attack, Rila lit a ceremonial fire in the center of a new Unity Hall built by both Earth and Velari. She looked at Eli and said quietly, "This fire no longer burns to destroy. It burns to remember." Eli smiled. "And to remind them who they tried to erase," she nodded, "and who we became." They stepped forward, together, because in the end, the fire that was meant to kill them lit the way for something greater. And the man who once scrubbed floors? He now stood in front of millions, not as a hero, not as a king, but as the first human ever bonded to an alien queen. And not because he fought for power, but because he ran toward the fire when no one else did.